Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. Is Monday morning. It's the start of the international break. For some of you might think, yes, that is good because Manchester United have been playing some not great football to watch on the eye, but some people will be saying, you know what, Manchester United are looking decent in the table right now, and we're actually, believe it or not, the most informed team in the league. I'm sure you've seen that throughout the weekend and watching all the games, and what a game it was on Sunday, by the way, the 4-4 against Man City and Chelsea. But we are here to talk about Manchester United news. We've got Manchester United news coming your way, talking about the stadium in Old Trafford, renovations. We're not getting a new stadium anymore, talking about injuries. Højlund and Eriksen have had to withdraw from the Denmark squad due to injuries. But mainly, the starting point is talking about Mason Greenwood. Getafe wanting to keep Mason Greenwood on, and Manchester United not really willing to sell yet, want to keep him on a loan deal, which is baffling to me because I think the quicker that we kind of part ways, the better. That's just my opinion. Also, some stuff coming in about, is Manchester United now in the top four race, getting towards the top four? I know it's still early days, but when you look at the points between the top six, there's really not much in it, and it's crazy to think Manchester United have had such a poor start to the season, have dealt with a decimated backline, dealt with all these injuries, off the pitch issues, and we're still in the race. And I don't know, the points on the board don't look as bad as what the performances. The performances have been not good, but the points on the board are looking decent, so we're going to get into that discussion as well. But welcome, everyone. Monday morning. It's going to be a great week. I can feel it. I'm putting the positive energy out there. It's going to be a great week. Make sure you smash anything you do. Start your day off right on a Monday. Go for a run, go to the gym, start eating healthy. Get yourself motivated for the Monday, everyone. But welcome. Anyway, guys, let's get into the news. So, starting off with Mason Greenwood and his Getafe loan, I'd be interested to see what you guys think on this. I know it's such a controversial topic. I know there's certain people that think in different ways, and I'm never going to tell you you're not allowed an opinion. Of course, everybody is, and everyone can feel the way that they want to feel about this. But Mason Greenwood's Getafe loan kind of went down differently within the fan base with a lot of different people. But Getafe are already looking to extend Mason Greenwood's stay at the club after he joined the Spanish side on loan at the start of the season, as per reports. But with a further loan deal understood to be likelier than a permanent transfer, Manchester United may have to seek greater financial compensation in return for lending out his services. So I got this article from the Express, but it's actually coming from the Sun, so take as that what you will. But Getafe are wanting to keep Mason Greenwood on. We want to keep it on as a loan, but I think they would be, from what I can gather, wanting to kind of buy him, but would be open to a loan as well. For me personally, we just need to part ways and get rid. At this point, he's not going to come back to Manchester United. He's not going to play in a Manchester United shirt. I've seen reports coming out saying, Manchester United understand that Mason needed to grow up, and they feel like he's doing that. They feel like he's maturing. But realistically, it's not as if he's just had, a few nights out on the town, crashed his car maybe after not doing the right things. The stuff that kind of happened was really, really serious stuff. And I just don't think there's a way back. And I just think to part ways now and part names with Manchester United and Mason Greenwood would be the best for all parties. And, he's doing well in Spain. Apparently, he's really liking the life out there. Maybe he wants to completely part ways as well. And I think that is the best solution, in my opinion. And it's coming from The Sun. A source told the British tabloid, interesting, Getafe have discussed trying to get United around the table so they can make an offer which they believe could be attractive to Manchester United to get them off their wage bill. But the likelier option is that Manchester United agree for the loan to be extended, as they know that Mason is happy and rebuilding his life. They know that he needs to grow up and want him to do so, and so far the Getafe loan has worked out very well for everyone. So I get it. I absolutely get it in the sense of, the Getafe loan is going well. But to say it's worked out well for everyone, it's worked out well for Manchester United because, they've been able to get rid of that problem. And he's gone overseas. And Getafe, they've got Mason Greenwood, no doubt about it, is a great talent. They've got a great talent playing for them. He's doing pretty well. But realistically, after not playing football for 18 months, he is doing quite well. But realistically, for the talent that Mason Greenwood is, and was, I would have expected him to be hitting higher heights, to be honest with you. For me, it doesn't really matter. He could go and score, 40 goals in this season. I still would be saying I don't want to bring him back. I'm going to be completely honest with you, but that's just my opinion. I would still want him to go. It's not about how good he is right now. It's just about, my moral compass with all of this and how it would affect a lot of Manchester United fans and people within the club. For Manchester United, it's good because they've been able to get rid of a problem, but at the same time, they're paying the majority of his wages every single week. So realistically, if you want to get rid of a player, it'd be if Manchester United genuinely don't see a future with Mason Greenwood, then they should sell him. If Getafe are looking to make an offer, they should sell him, because another loan is just going to be them paying his wages. Whereas if they sell him, they get him off the wage bill. So for me, the logical solution, if they don't ever see him coming back, would be to sell him. But the fact they're not going to do that, and it looks like they're going to do another loan deal if this story is correct, makes you think that maybe they are going to be looking to bring him back in the future. And that's obviously just me reading between the lines, and it's a maybe. I'm not saying that at all, but you'd be thinking they'd just want to get him off the books at this point, to be honest with you, if they didn't see him coming back. And this is what I'm talking about. The next bit of the article says, if United are to accept a second season on loan, then it would be at their best interest to agree upon a loan fee with Getafe to help them recoup some funds. Getafe are currently only paying a small contribution of his 75 grand a week wages, and United are covering the majority. If Mason Greenwood stays on loan and the La Liga team did not pay his loan fee in their existing agreement, Greenwood would be paid a total of £6 million further by Manchester United if he remains at the club until his contract expires in 18 months' time. So obviously, 18 months, realistically, it's actually not that long. It'll come round so quickly. So his contract will be expiring in 18 months. Maybe they want to wait until that happens to kind of get him rid that way. But if you're going to let him go anyway on a free transfer, sell him now and don't pay the £6 million in wages. Like, unless Mason Greenwood would be like, no, I'm not doing that, which I'm sure he would, because, you know, if he's never going to come back and he's doing well in Spain, you might as well part ways. I just don't get why you would want to keep him unless they're thinking to bring him back in the future, which for me would be a big mistake. But a lot of people are asking for a poll on it. Let's do a poll. That's what the community wants. So if we can get a poll in the chat whether Mason Greenwood, you would keep him on loan or you would sell him. Let's get a poll in. Would you extend his loan or would you sell him? I want to see what the people say. Me personally, and I was speaking to Mark about it this morning. Mark said sell, I said sell. We were talking about it in the group chat, our little United Stand group chat, and we were just saying we need to sell and get rid. Like that's where we're at now. But I understand people think differently. And let me just look. As I said, for me, it's not about he could score 40 goals this season. I would still not want him back. But let's just have a look 1 second. I want to actually see what his stats are this season. In La Liga for Getafe. Let me have a little look. Right, so we're in this season. Show. Okay. So, why is it not coming up? Right, okay, it's not working to load the site, but I know it's not absolutely, he's not going off the charts. Considering the talent that he was, like, I expected more, I'm going to be honest. What would you do with Greenwood? Sell or extend and loan or keep him? I am going to press sell on there. But yeah, God, 63% are saying keep him, 62%, that is crazy. But, obviously, you're all entitled to your opinions. I mean, I don't want to go into this topic that much further because I feel like it's just going over old ground, but that's the news and that's what I bring it to you. I'll leave the poll up there for you guys to have your say. You know my say. But, and how much money would you get for him if you sold him? It would be a small fee. A small fee, especially because of his wages that he's on. I really don't think it'd be that much because of everything that's happened. And it's crazy to think before everything happened, Mason Greenwood was 100 million, 150 million kind of, you know, what would you call it, asset. He was a 150 million pound asset, genuinely. When Mason Greenwood first came onto the scene at Manchester United, I was convinced he was going to be in like the Haaland and Mbappe bracket. Genuinely, I'm not joking. Like he looked so good for his age and the potential he had. It's a real shame that all of that's kind of gone down the drain. And as I said, for me, but all the talent, there's so much talent there, ridiculous amounts of talent. But it just, for Manchester United and me, just as my own. Just kind of my own opinion and my thoughts and my moral compass would be, I would not want to bring him back to Manchester United and I would sell him. But you guys get your votes in. We've got over 1,000 coming in already. Still 63% saying keep him. Wow, it's crazy. It's crazy, but that's what the community says. So you get your opinions in. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about, well, we're going to talk about it in a little bit of detail actually, Sir Jim and his plans regarding Manchester United. So, as we've seen, Sir Jim is going to complete the deal to take over 25% of Manchester United for 1.25 billion. That is going to happen. Everyone's saying it. All the journalists are leading with it. It's only a matter of time. And I think I saw a story that was saying by our next game, that deal will probably have been announced. And to be honest with you, I'm going to be really honest, you know, we'll have this conversation. When everything first started happening with Qatar or Sir Jim, if you guys have watched the shows, you would know I was always full takeover only, want the Glazers fully gone. When I've realised that wasn't an option because the Glazers weren't going to do that, they were going to go with the partial stake with Sir Jim, I thought to myself, I'm not going to sit around saying, no, Sir Jim, no, because what's that really going to do for me? All it's going to do is take up negative space in my head, which I don't want to do. I always want to be a glass half full kind of person. That's just the way I am about life. So I thought to myself, yes, I wanted full takeover, and yes, I think if we would have got Qatar in, like, it would have absolutely astronomically changed the course of this football club in Manchester United. But the more I'm hearing about the plans of what Sir Jim's going to do, it is something that is going to improve this club. It's the first stage of getting the Glazers out the door. The fact the Glazers staying is obviously just, it's unthinkable, really. I want Glazers out, absolutely I do. But this is the first step, Sir Jim getting his foot in the door, and hopefully, if the plan that is put in place, and that I'm sure we'll hear more about further, is going to be successful, Sir Jim will eventually own 100% of this football club. And the stuff that I'm hearing coming out about, you know, getting Paul Mitchell in, Richard Arnold and Murto are facing, you know, the sack, basically. If anybody saw the interview I did with Chris Wheeler in Copenhagen, it was really interesting. He was saying 100% the pressure is on Murto and Arnold. Them two need to go. Like, let's be honest. Like, they're just not at the high enough level to be at a club like Manchester United. It just is that way. It's nothing personal. We need a good sporting director. Like Pep Guardiola on the docu. He literally sat there, Pep Guardiola, got asked about Doku. Doku's been brilliant, and said, I have to thank my sporting director. Another good player coming to this club. Do you think in a million years John Murto would be about seeking out Jeremy Doku and getting him on a good deal for Erik ten Hag? Absolutely not. Erik ten Hag said, I want Anthony for 90 mil, and they were like, yeah, go on then. Like, and I wholeheartedly believe the manager should get signings that he wants, but it should be a joint team effort. And there should be so much coming from the sporting director, and we're just not getting that. And it's suffering with Erik ten Hag. When you look at how successful his signings have been, you can kind of see the correlation there. So we're massively in need of a sporting director. That, for me, is a big plus if that happens. You know, the likes of Paul Mitchell, again, not going to write home about him because, I mean, his track record is very good, but it's a very different, he's been at very different levels of clubs to Manchester United. At Manchester United, it's completely different. You're bringing in young talent in, you're getting them to build them up and bring them in to be, hopefully, one of the best football players in the world. What Paul Mitchell's done in the past is he's gone to clubs and he's brought talent in and then they've sold them on in a lot of occasions, but he's still brought in some great talent. So that's exciting. Obviously, new CEO has been touted, and it was Jean Corblanc that was being touted to be a new CEO. And there's David Brels's another name that's coming into conversation. So he is looking to change the personnel. He's looking to change the football side of things, which for me, obviously, like, you might not think that them names are the be-all and end-all, and they're yet to prove anything to anyone. But I can tell you, categorically, it will be better than what we've got now. And that's what I'm trying to kind of think on the positive side. 100% it will be better than what we've got now, and it will improve us. Recruitment is such a big part of football, and we've been absolutely destroying this club over the years with horrible recruitment. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. And our recruitment's been terrible in the last decade. It really has. So that's going to be a massive thing for us. Obviously, the club as a whole makes enough money to kind of sustain itself. So obviously I would have liked the full takeover, but that's where we're at with Sir Jim. But let me get on to the stadium stuff, everybody, and then I'll read some of your chats out as well. So with the stadium, it looks like, and this is coming from the Daily Mail Sport, Sir Jim Ratcliffe rules out construction of a new £1.5 billion Man United stadium as he prepares to purchase a 25% stake of the club. But the 71-year-old has earmarked $245 million to improve the infrastructure at the club. So we're going to talk about whether you'd want a new stadium, whether we think we should renovate it, because I know a lot of people are kind of very sentimental when it comes to Old Trafford, and I have my own opinions on it. But we're going to talk about it. But the stadium, the new stadium, from what I can gather right now, is completely off. I think we're going to renovate Old Trafford. We're not going to build a new stadium, which Honestly, I've been going to Old Trafford for years, and I know a lot of people say, Beth, you don't get it because you're one of the younger fans. I know I am only 22, and I've not seen like all the glory days. I've seen some glory days, but I've not seen all of them. And Old Trafford is a special, special place for me. But I also was open. I'm completely behind a renovation of Old Trafford. Like, I'm not going to sit here saying, "Oh no, we're not building a new stadium. We're only renovating it." Like that's so out of order, because that's not the way I feel. For me, I was always on the train of, I don't mind which one it is. Like, if we rebuild Old Trafford in the same area, it would be absolutely unbelievable, and the stadium would go on for years, and it would be one of the best stadiums in the world, because that's, you know, when you get a new stadium, that's what happens. If we rebuilt Old Trafford, you get to keep the sentimentality of it and everything that kind of has happened at Old Trafford, but also you get to upgrade it. But at the same time, I look at Old Trafford and I think, I don't know how you would make it into the stadium it needs to be in its current state. Obviously, I'm not an architect, and I'm sure they'll prove me wrong. I think you've seen all the, you know, possibilities going on TikTok when it has option A, B, C, D, and you can see different. Some looks like a spaceship, which is really not my vibe. Some of them actually look like they're quite good, but obviously we'll get the architects draw up their plans. That's not my forte. But I've always struggled to think, because of the amount of space that's in there. Even when I was at Copenhagen and I was at the Park and Stadium, like the amount of space you had in the seats, and like the corridors and the hallways, and where you were sat, like you actually had space. And at Old Trafford, you're just constantly like that. And I think if I'm like that, I'm 5'2", and you know, I'm quite a petite frame, and I'm thinking, you know, how are people like 6 foot dealing with this sort of thing? And I know it's not like absolutely, you know, catastrophic if we don't have the right amount of leg room, but it's stuff that needs to be addressed. So I was always, in a sense, I didn't mind. I'm happy that we get to keep the sentimentality of the club. I think we will rebuild it, but it's going to cost similar amounts of money, and I don't know where that money is going to come from. I really don't. I assume it's going to have to come from a sponsor. Speaking to Chris Wheeler again, who obviously works for the Mail as well, about this and talking about this kind of stuff. With the amount of money that Sir Jim's investing, so obviously he's giving 1.5 billion for 25%, a renovation of the stadium itself, just renovations, is probably going to cost near to 1 billion. And the Glazers don't have any money left. I know Sir Jim does have, you know, money to invest, but why would he pay for a new stadium when he's only got 25%, unless obviously there's plans in place that he's definitely going to own 100% of this club at some point. So for me, I don't know how the logistics are going to work. This is why I need to see the plan when it's announced. I don't know where the money's going to be distributed, and I'm just guessing. But I assume we will get a sponsor for this stadium. Just like, you know, the new camp has a Spotify. It's so common now in football. And I've actually got Ben Jacobs on at 3 p.m, who's been great on this sales stuff, so I'll ask him more about that. And we're going to have an interview with him. So if you have any questions, get in the comments and I'll try and ask them him. But I do think we'll get a sponsor for the stadium, even when it is renovated. To be honest with you, which it's the way of the world now, but it'd be weird to see like a sponsor in front of Old Trafford. It really would. And the name's right. It's huge. Tottenham Hotspur will have one right before you know it. They honestly will. And this is what everyone's that's the kind of route that people are going down now, because of the amount of money it can pull in is honestly astronomical. Man United and the Glazers won't miss out on that. What sponsor would you want it to be? I quite like Spotify for the new camp. It's obviously the new camp sounds better on its own, but Spotify's not a bad sponsor to have. But yeah, I remember. Do you remember the time? It feels like just yesterday. The time when we were linked to Qatar and we're linked to Elon Musk and we're linked to Amazon, and people were coming up with the shirt concepts with like Prime Video, and then there was one that was like Tesla on it, and then there was one that was like Apple TV. All the shirt concepts people were coming up with. It's crazy, wild stuff. But anyway, that's where we're at with the stadium. Got a little bit more on here. So this is an interesting one. Let me actually get some of your comments in, because I've not really interacted as much with the chat as I would like. So I'll come back to it, but let me get some of your comments in, guys. And really need to get you guys get on to Mark about this in the studio. He's coming up tomorrow. We need to get a screen in front of me so I don't have to look at my laptop for chats and everything. So I'm always looking at you guys. Look into your eyes, look into your soul. Don't know if you like that, but we need a screen there so I don't have to look down. Tom Best says, I feel that Sir Jim, the short time is a short time fix, whilst after Qatar will fully buy the club, from Tom Best. Oscar says, bring Mason back. Greetings from Poland. I wouldn't. But there you go. Sam Brox, looks like you had a good time in Copenhagen, Beth. Now you know why I moved here from Manchester. Sam, Copenhagen, I feel like I'm literally, you won't stop speaking about Copenhagen. People are like, shut up, Beth. You know, when like I don't care. But Copenhagen was so nice, apart from the result, obviously. But the city in general, and it just seemed so much less stress, less busy. People were chilled out. The nightlife was great. The city was lovely, nice and clean. The people were nice. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I get it. Although I love Manchester. And you're saying that's why I moved there from Manchester. I am a Mancunian born and bred, and I absolutely love Manchester. I can't lie. I can't lie to you about that. David Porter says, I can never comprehend why property owners are so reluctant to look at their own properties. The stadium is owned by the club, but the directors have legal duties. And what's happening with the leaking roof? I mean, it needs to be sorted out ASAP. I've just seen hilarious Mike Southam putting hilarious idea for a sponsor of Old Trafford. I won't read it out on the Monday morning show, but you can infer what it might be if you look at the chat. David Sutcliffe says he's not paying 1.5 billion. It's being paid with a loan, which interest is being paid behind the business. I get it. A lot of people don't like debt, and debt for me is just a word that we've been scarred with the Glazers. Debt in business can be good sometimes. But again, I would much prefer us to have no debt and a full takeover, 100%. But debt, if it's used in the right way, isn't the horrible word that we've been scarred with the Glazers. There's different types of debt that you can have. Ineos Trafford coming, well, that does make the most sense, doesn't it? It does kind of make the most sense. But let me talk a little bit more about this story. So, despite the shortcomings at Old Trafford, Mail Sport has learnt that the bulk of the cash is earmarked for a new training centre rather than for the stadium. It is estimated that between 150 and 200 million has been earmarked to modernise the Carrington training ground. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe has ruled out building a new stadium for Manchester United. Instead, he will consider an alternative plan to renovate and expand Old Trafford and improve facilities around the training ground. So that's the main bulk of it here. He will consider alternative plans to renovate and expand Old Trafford and improve facilities in the training ground. So 150 to 200 million on the training ground. Interesting, because when you think about the amount of times we've been told, you know, Carrington is up to date, guys. Don't worry about it. People are over-dramatising it. Carrington needs to be updated, absolutely. I've spoken about it on the show before as well. And I've said, you know, in the Manchester area, I have friends that are very into, like, in the physiotherapy world, and they say how behind how behind Carrington is with all the equipment and everything they have and the facilities. And to be behind in that sense when you're looking at it just in the Manchester area, compared to what we are probably in the world, no wonder that we pick up so many injuries, and no wonder injuries have been a big problem for us. And just the training ground in general, obviously I've been to Carrington. When you pull up to it and you see it, like, it is beautiful and it looks amazing. But realistically, when you compare it to all the biggest and the best in the world, it does need massively updating, it does. And Ronaldo spoke about it in his interview. He wasn't wrong. Like, he's not making it up. Like, Carrington does need to be modernised, and I think it's good that we're spending such a big sum on doing that, because think about it, these players and all the staff, they're at Carrington every single day. And I always feel like whatever you're doing every single day, you're living and breathing, you take with you in your mentality, in your mindset. If the players are in, like, a training facility that isn't of the best quality, that trickles down throughout everything. And people might think I'm silly, but throughout your mentality, throughout everything. Like, if the studio, I walked into the studio every day and it was just like brick walls, nothing in here, like, just didn't have like up-to-date stuff for us to use and to sit in, and, you know, everything that we've kind of got, which, you know, we're very grateful here for at the United Stand, then I don't feel like you would be as inspired to try and do the best content and make, you know, have the best guests on and do the best interviews. I just don't feel like it'd be as kind of high up the level. Like, you are what you are. That sounded very, very Michael Owen-esque, didn't it? Like, you know, when you score goals in football, you win games, like that kind of thing. But you get what I'm trying to say. I'm kind of mumbling around it, but what you do every day, it filters down into your everyday life. And when you're working at the best of the best facilities and the best of the best around you, and you have the best physios, you have the best equipment, you have the best training facilities, all the staff are in the best place, like, you are at a higher level automatically. Where you're at a place where it's a little bit run down and the facilities aren't quite up to date, that kind of trickles down, and you're not as good as what you can be. You want to get the maximum out of the talent that you have. You want to get the maximum out of all the potential that you have. With a training ground that isn't up to scratch, you're not going to get that. So I think it's great that we're going to invest into the Carrington, and it's been a long time coming, 100%. And on building a new stadium, let's get another poll in. Are you guys happy? Are you guys happy that we are renovating Old Trafford rather than building a new one? Let's get a poll on that. Would you want to renovate or build a new one? I've done this numerous times on the United Stand before, but I want to kind of see what you guys are saying in this. Sing Game says, what about the best players? Like, absolutely, Manchester United need to be recruiting better. I've literally just spoke about it for 10 minutes. Sing Gaming, I've just spoke about it for 10 minutes. Our recruitment has been terrible, and the individual quality of our players is not up to scratch. Like, absolutely, there's no beating around the bush. And that's why I said I'm happy that we're getting Paul Mitchell. And if that does happen, I'm happy we're going to change the CEO. They're things that need to change because we need to improve the talent and the personnel of this football club. Definitely, without a doubt. But it all starts from the top. Like, you end up getting better players and better talent because you've employed better talent in the position of sporting director, scouts, CEO. That filters down. But it's not just that. Like, it's everything. It's absolutely everything. I watched the Gary Neville podcast a little bit ago. I think it was after our loss to Man City, and he was talking about the Glazers again. And I know some people get a bit fed up, get a little bit fed up with Gary because he's always going on about the Glazers, and people feel like he's blaming them for everything, and maybe that isn't the case. But I honestly feel like he's absolutely dead on. And everything he was saying, I was like, yes, yes, yes. You know, when you find yourself agreeing, and you're like, I really enjoyed watching it, I'm going to be honest. And he was talking about how the first thing he would do is invest in the stadium. As the roof, if anyone's seen it, the roof was literally leaking behind him. It was hilarious, really. Honestly, it's like the state of Manchester United. We're the biggest and the best in the world, and that's what you've got to show for it. So, like, we should be anyway. And he says, like, when you've got the best stadium, the best training facilities, like, it just completely does filter down, and it changes the whole mood, the whole atmosphere. It can do a lot. Like I said, of course you need the talent, but mentality and mindset is absolutely massive in sport. And you would be so shocked at how much a completely renovated stadium and a completely renovated, up-to-date Carrington with all the best equipment and everything in it would affect this club, this team, the staff, everything around it. What is the best option from Old Trafford? So get in your comments, renovation or new stadium. I don't mind, to be honest with you. I would have had either or, but I'll go with renovation for the sentimentality reasons. Got a couple super chats in. Methane Man says, morning Beth, not a chance the Glazers will let Sir Jim sack Arnold and Murto as they helped buy the club originally. Glazers out. Well, this is what we're hearing through a lot of quality journalists, everyone. And I don't think Sir Jim's come in just to take the heat off the Glazers. Because I will speak more about this with Ben Jacobs when I have him on at 3 p.m. But Sir Jim, if he's not allowed control over the footballing aspect, it's just a free pass for the Glazers because he comes in with 25%, and the story that we're told is he's going to be changing the footballing aspect of things. If that doesn't happen and doesn't change, people are going to be coming for Sir Jim. And people will still be coming for the Glazers and blaming them, but Sir Jim's going to get massive, massive backlash. He knows this. Why would he come in to do nothing? Like, why would he agree to that 1.25 billion to do nothing? I get it's a good investment, and of course Manchester United is a money-making machine, but I just don't understand why you would willingly take the flat for the Glazers when you're going to be getting nothing back in return, no control. So I actually do think there is a lot coming through from these journalists that is correct in the sense of, I do actually think Murto and Arnold's jobs are at risk. And obviously it's never nice. I would never sit here and say I want people to willingly lose their jobs. Like, people are human at the end of the day, and it's unfortunate. But if you're not competent enough, then it's time to move on. And I'm sure the payout would be more than justified. Cameron O'Connor says, keyword consider. Oscar says, I'm considering visiting you guys on December the 11th. Are there tickets left? I admire how you and Mark still defend our boss. I am out of my depth. Says Oscar. Oscar, please come to the Manchester show. 11th of December, I actually think if you go in the description, there is still some tickets left for that show. Christmas show, the night before Bayern Munich. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. Everyone's going to be there from the United Stand. I really do think you should come along. So yeah, we'll see you there if you do decide to come. And I'm still defending Erik ten Hag, and we're going to talk about this in a little second. Because yes, the football's not great. Yes, it's hard to watch at the moment. But I don't have short-term memory loss. I remember last year, he's got the highest win percentage we've had as a manager. The quickest manager to reach 30 games. He was the only manager for Man United who's reached 30 Premier League wins in 50 Premier League games, which is a great record to have. And yes, the football's been bad, and you do have to look at that. But where we're at in the league, considering everything that's gone on, I think you do need to cut him a little bit of slack. Signings, I am massively questioning. And I've got a show I've actually thought about doing on that, because realistically at the moment, the only successful ones look like Martinez, Eriksen on a free, Højlund looks like he's going to be a great player. And I honestly think Onana is going under the radar a little bit, and I think he will be a very justified signing in the future. I know a lot of people would disagree, but, you know, third highest save rate in the league, second for clean sheets so far this year. I think his performances are going under the radar a little bit because of such a terrible start. So, yeah, it's not looking great for Ten Hag signings, but I'm still going to defend this manager because he's got so much positive, so many positives that you can look at that I think are going under the radar. And like Ladio says, I have no idea how we're in 6th place. I have no idea how we're the most informed side in the league. Like, it's mad. But we are. And sometimes stats can paper over the cracks, and this is kind of an example of it. But we need to get the football working and playing better, definitely. Shaw and Martinez are absolutely huge, huge misses. Obviously, he's one of his key players last year, and Rashford's completely out of form. Like, there is certain things that are holding Erik ten Hag back. They're not excuses. But injuries have been huge. Huge, huge, huge. Oscar says, thanks, I've not been to the UK since the pandemic. Oscar, come over. Can't say the UK's in the best state right now. But I love Manchester, and I think it's an amazing city. And I don't think you'll regret it. Paul Muscroft, super chat in, thank you very much for that. Assassin, first penalty for Man City yesterday was rubbish decision, and Walker's handball VAR must have been bought by the City owners. Honestly, please don't get me started on Man City's VAR decisions that they're getting. If you want to know my opinions, at MUFC is my Twitter. This obviously isn't That's Football, it's the United Stand. But the absolute joke of decisions that City have been getting. In the first half of United away for them, in the first half of Chelsea away, 2 of the softest penalties I've seen. And you just know for a fact Man United are never getting them in a million years. And when you look at the table of VAR decisions, it's actually gone one further now in City's direction. In the sense of, I think they're towards the top of the table of VAR decisions being given against them. I think they've got like +3 goals. And Man United are on like -5. So that's where we're at right now. Oh, I know they play miles better football than us. I know they're massively better than us, but it's still just so frustrating to see. It's the inconsistency. I'm sick of saying it, but it's the inconsistency of decisions that are just blowing my head off. And for some reason, we're always on the wrong end of the consistency right now. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit more about the top 4 hopes now. But get in the comments down below. Do you think, straight off the bat, we're going to have this discussion, do you think that Manchester United will get top 4? We've got some tough fixtures coming up. We're in 6th place currently. I think we're on 21 points. Let me actually get the Premier League table up right now so I can look at it in detail. Also, just before I move on to this, got a couple of things I want to say in the show. So, first of all, we've got the fact that Højlund and Eriksen, if you missed us out of the show, they've withdrawn from the Denmark squad with injury. I just hope it's not too severe, and I hope it's just kind of precautionary, but hopefully we'll get updates on them soon. When we get them, I'm not sure. Usually, you know, with Erik ten Hag, we never really get details about injuries, but I really hope it's not too long, because we've been so unlucky with injuries. It's actually crazy, and they're 2 important players that have been our better players as of recently as well. So we need them fit. We need them fit. And also, if people weren't aware, this is something I wanted to bring to the show. It is Sir Bobby Charlton's funeral today, and I think there will be a tribute paid to him and a walkway through outside Old Trafford, starting from 1:30 p.m. But it is his funeral today, and Sir Bobby Charlton will be laid to rest. So, paying massive respect to Sir Bobby, and just thinking about his family and his close ones on a day like today. And yeah, hopefully it's a brilliant send off for him. And all I can say is absolute legend on and off the pitch, and may he rest in peace. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that into the show because he is an absolute icon for Manchester United, and he will be laid to rest today. But we're going to talk about Manchester United getting top 4, where we're at in the league and where it'll be. Will Man United get top 4? Make sure you vote in the chat. I'm going to say yes. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. I actually don't think we'll get 4th, but I've said yes because I think we'll get top 5. I think we'll get 5th. And 5th this year, I think it's enough to get a Champions League spot, which will be, I still think it'll be mad that Manchester United end up doing that after the horrible start to the season we have had. But let's talk about the Premier League table. So, you know, it's mad to me because Ange Postecoglou's had 3 Players of the Month. I love Ange, by the way. I wouldn't say I love him, he's Spurs manager. I really like Ange. I really like Ange. I think he's a good manager. I think what he's done at Tottenham's brilliant so far. But we're 5 points behind Tottenham, and Tottenham have been praised and lauded. And he's had 3 player of the month, sorry, not players of the month, he's had 3 managers of the month in a row. And yes, Spurs have played better football than us, been better to watch, and they've been better than us this year. But like the kind of media assassination on Manchester United is crazy. It's like, we beat Luton. Yeah, it was only 1-0. It should have been about 4-0. Let's be honest. Like, we couldn't finish our chances whatsoever, but the football wasn't great. It wasn't. But if we finish our chances, we're talking about a completely different game. But that's been the story all season with Man United. But, you know, fair enough, it was away from home, but Liverpool drew with Luton, and people talking about Liverpool as, you know, title contenders. There's not a word uttered about them. I get it, Liverpool playing better football than us, but it's just, there's just so different narratives in the media, and I feel like Man United is going for a media assassination every single week. But between the top six, well, we'll do between the top 7, because do you know what's crazy to me? Again, Eddie Howe, unbelievable. Newcastle playing amazing football. XG, amazing. Like, their XG is the best in the league. And Newcastle have been brilliant. Like, Eddie Howe's doing a cracking job. And again, they've played better football than us. The annihilated us at Old Trafford. Got it. They are better than us. But we're ahead of Newcastle in the Premier League table. We're ahead of him, only by 1 point, but we're ahead of him. The way that the 2 teams are being spoken about this season, you would think that Man United were like 16th and Newcastle were like 3rd or 4th. Like, it's crazy the kind of how points can add up compared to performances. But this is where we're at. So Newcastle are in 7th spot with 20 points. I get it, Newcastle have had really tough fixtures, but we've played Arsenal, we've played United. The only team we've not played that they have played yet is Newcastle, really. So I don't think it's that much difference between the fixtures. So you've got Newcastle on 20 points, Man United on 21 points in 6th. Aston Villa, they're doing brilliantly well with Unai Emery. They're on 5th place with 25 points. 4th is Tottenham with 26 points. Arsenal is 3rd with 27 points. And so the joint, but it's just goal difference that's kind of swaying it. And Liverpool are 27 points as well in 2nd spot. And Man City, top spot in 28 points. So there's 8 points that decide for the top 7 right now. It's really close, and it makes for an exciting Premier League. I absolutely think City win the league. Like, definitely think City win the league. But it's exciting. The top 4 race is definitely going to be exciting, and it will be able to change quite quickly throughout the season. If someone has if a team has a poor couple of results, it could massively kind of change things within the top 4 conversation. So get in your comments as well. We've had an easy run. I don't think we have had an easy run, to be honest with you. We've had some tough fixtures, but we've had some good fixtures as well. I think our fixtures have been okay, decent. I don't think it's been anything like really tough, but it's not been anything ridiculously easy either. But we've got a tough run of fixtures coming up, and I think this will decide a lot of our season. We beat Sheffield United and beat Luton. We will crumble soon. Yeah, but the good teams we've played, we've lost against. I get it. I get that fact, but we're still, like, points are points at the end of the day. We're still where we're at. This is why I said, you know, points can paper over the cracks, and it's a deciding week not a deciding week, it's a deciding month for Manchester United coming up till Christmas. Absolutely. And Erik ten Hag could either be potentially out of a job for Christmas, or he could be in a completely different space in the media or within the fan base where we're actually really, really happy with the way things are going and how he's turned things around. Because the good thing for Man United now is they've actually got time this international break, and they've got time to fix things, because the points on the board are not drastically bad. They're actually all right. They're actually decent considering how poor we've been. So if Man United can get their act together and start putting some good performances in, and we can get some players back from injury, there's still a chance to make something of this season, which, I'm going to be honest, at the start of the season felt like the season was completely written off straight away. But we've still got a chance to make something out this season, and by that I mean top 4. So that's a good place to be in, considering how bad we've been. You know, you've got to kind of take it into perspective. Do you think Man United will get top 4? No, 62%. Yes, 38%. I kind of expected that consensus. I think we'll get 5th. But Savage says Erik ten Hag will turn it around. He has done it before. Zen Chris says City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea, United. And there's no easy run at this level. Exactly. But let's get up our fixture list, because this is going to be like a make or break after the international break. So I'm just going to do Premier League because I'm thinking about the Premier League right now. So you've got Everton away, 4:30 kickoff on a Sunday, Super Sunday. Everton away, tough. Going to Goodison Park is always going to be tough. and we're not great away from home. I can see that being a sneaky 1-0 to Man United. Just the same way the Burnley game was, the same way the Fulham away game was. Erik ten Hag at the moment, in the position we're in, he likes to do a little bit of a short shop, try and nick something out of a moment on an away game, and it's been working for us. It's not going to continue to work. It's actually crazy the amount of games that we've won by only 1 goal, and things can go very easily. Last-minute winners, deflections, penalties, VARs, like things can really implicate a 1-0 scoreline or even a 2-1 scoreline. But I see Everton away as being a 1-0, Man United probably like an 80th minute goal, something really kind of jammy to get us over the line. That's what I see it being. Newcastle away at St James's Park. Gonna be completely honest with you, I don't see anything but a loss. And I think we could get embarrassed. Newcastle, like I was just saying, the points on the board really don't reflect the performances. They look dangerous, really dangerous when they're on the attack and on the break. They annihilated us at Old Trafford. The only thing I'm holding out hope for that is the injuries that they've had. And if they don't have the injuries back in time, it could be maybe a little bit more difficult for them. But we've got injuries as well. St James's Park is an 8 o'clock kickoff. They're going to be right up for it. Right up for it. I just don't see Man United being able to come out of that with anything. We'll crumble under the St James's atmosphere, unfortunately. But that's where I think that'll end. Man United-Chelsea is our next game in the Premier League. Looking at Chelsea yesterday, I'm worried for that game. I was thinking that was going to be a win, but I'm worried for that game. I still think Man United will win it. I'm going to go, I think it'd be like maybe a 2-1 to Man United that game, or maybe a 1-1. Might be able to get a draw out of it. Then you've got Bournemouth. Then you've got Liverpool away, Anfield. Don't see us getting anything out of that. Maybe a draw at best, but after the 7-0 debacle last year, I'm generally going in there with no hopes. Then you've got West Ham away. Another tough game. Lost there last year. It was a struggle. Then you've got Aston Villa at home on Boxing Day. So it is a really, really tough run. A really tough run. I'll tell you what I expect. And I think if this happens, Man United are in a good position, considering how bad we've been as well. I expect to win at Everton. St James's Park, there'll be nothing. I expect us to win at Chelsea at home. Bournemouth at home, I expect us to win that game. 3 points. Anfield away. I would like us to try and get a draw, but let's be honest, guys, I don't think we get anything. And then you've got West Ham away. We've got to win it. We've got to win it just before Christmas. You've got to go into the Christmas period on a win. So realistically, if you win them games, the ones that I've said, the West Ham, the Bournemouth, the Chelsea and the Everton, which I expect us to win, you're in a good position. I don't think that will happen. Newcastle and Liverpool, I just don't think we'll get anything out of them. But there's an opportunity there for Man United to go into Christmas with, of course, it'll be disappointing to lose to Newcastle and Liverpool, but I'm just being realistic, but with a good amount of points from them fixtures. Or we could go in with, Sean Dyche manages to nick something at Everton away. Newcastle obviously beat us. Chelsea are on good form, managed to get some at Old Trafford at home. I still think we beat Bournemouth at home. Liverpool, that could be a silly one. Then you look at West Ham away, you could easily lose that game like we did last year. And then you're looking at a bad situation for Erik ten Hag. So it's going to go one way or the other. I really hope Erik ten Hag manages to get through this round of fixtures. I really, really do. Going into the Christmas period with a bit of our spring in our step and knowing that we've turned it around. But genuinely, this is why I say now, from now, after this international break, up until Boxing Day, it is absolute make or break time for Erik ten Hag. Because the vultures are circling. He's staying in game by game at the minute. And even though the points on the board are decent, like the performances haven't been, and people are going to look at that, and fans are fed up with it. They want to watch good football. Like when I saw City-Chelsea on Sunday, I was like, that's what I want to see. It's Stamford Bridge at home. Chelsea went toe-to-toe with them. We didn't have the guts to do that at Old Trafford. We just kind of let City walk all over us and crumbled as soon as they got a penalty. Like, Chelsea actually stood up like men yesterday against City, and that 4-4 thriller is prime Barclays Premier League. And I just thought, God, I wish I'd see Man United play like that. I wish I could see us play like that. And Chelsea, I've been bantering Chelsea. They blow us in the table by quite a bit. But I just want to see us play some good football. So the vultures are circling. Ten Hag needs to get it together over this course of fixtures. I'm massively behind him. I really hope that we can get a good run of games going, and that includes playing good football. Even if, right, I expect us to lose at St James's Park. I expect us to play at Liverpool, but give it a good game. Give us a bit of something to kind of give us some hope. in regard to this team. Obviously, Martinez and Shaw is a huge loss. I don't know when they're going to be back. Hopefully Shaw isn't too far away. Martinez is, I think he's not until January, so that's kind of ruled out. You've got Eriksen and Højlund, who we massively need back. Wan-Bissaka was just ill. Varane's kind of not been able to get in the team, which is crazy. Casemiro's out till January. We've got injuries all over the pitch. But to get some games together, to get some good games together is crucial for us. And I think what a really big thing is that needs to be uncovered in the next run of games is the forward line's form. We need Rashford to start scoring goals. We need Garnacho to kind of contribute a little bit more in terms of goals. We need Højlund to be able to get in his Premier League goals. We need to be providing more goals in our forward line. It is an absolute must. We cannot get through this season with one goal between all of our forwards in the Premier League. Do you know what, in November, how crazy that is, considering we're in 6th spot? It's absolutely wild, like crazy. We need our strikers to be providing more, and we need them to be scoring the chances that that do get provided to them. Fair enough, we can create more chances, and our football's not been great, but we've been missing a hell of a lot as well. So they're things that need to happen. Anyway, thank you everyone for your comments. People saying I'm cursing Man United. Don't say that. How am I cursing Man United? I'm definitely not. I brought my 2 friends to the game on Sunday and we ended up winning it. Saturday. I know it was Luton, but still, they've got a 100% winning streak at Old Trafford. I'm making us win games. Come on, guys. I've said to them, you've got to come every week now. They really enjoyed it. I thought, you're enjoying this? Luton was a terrible game, to be honest. But we got the 3 points, and that's all that matters. But thank you, everyone, for watching. That's kind of my summary. I think Man United will get 5th at the end of this Premier League season. Clip it up. Don't say that. What if we come like 8th or 9th or something now? But I do think we'll get 5th spot. Maybe we'll just miss out and get 6th. But getting Champions League would be a miracle, considering how poor we've been. Questions are going to be asked about Erik Ten Hag's signings. Another thing, I keep saying it, I do think we need to give more minutes to the likes of Mount and Amrabat, just to kind of see them more and integrate them more into the team. But that's the note I'm going to leave you on. Really, really hope everything's okay with Eriksen and Højlund, because Højlund deserves to be playing in this team. Eriksen's been pretty good as well. He has his massive drawbacks in terms of physicality, but we need them players available and fit. I just want to end the show. Make sure to hit a like on the video on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if not. Reminder that Ben Jacobs is coming. He's coming on the show at 3 p.m. I'm going to ask all the takeover questions you want. Ask about the new stadium. Ask about Paul Mitchell. Ask about CEOs. Ask about everything related to that. I cannot wait for it. Make sure you tune into that later. We also have Ben Foster and Mark coming up. I think it's usually out around 12, half 12. So stay tuned for that. But lastly, finish the show on the note saying, you know, if you're going to Old Trafford to pay your respect to Sir Bobby, I mean, my best wishes is with everyone who this is affecting today, and especially Sir Bobby's family's close family and friends, and everyone surrounding Sir Bobby who loved and cared about him. It will be a beautiful send-off today, I'm sure, and my respects go out to him and his family, and yeah, rest in peace. I wish him all the best as he goes into the next kind of chapter. But thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you at 3 p.m. everyone.